Hey Sales World, lead generation for B2B. There are many different options. In this video, we're going to talk about 20 different strategies that you can implement inside your business starting today. Now, not all of these strategies are equal. Some short-term strategies, some are medium-term strategies, and some are long-term strategies. Now, where most businesses fail is they try to get medium or long-term results from short-term strategies, and that simply does not occur. I've worked in a business before where we were setting medium or long-term strategies, and after 6 months, the founder was changing them because it wasn't giving the results. And as a result, it was like trying to build a house on shaky foundations. We struggled to get purchase, and we didn't let those roots grow, but it takes time. What determines what works with a lead generation strategy for your business is how your market prefers to receive information. I would suggest taking a combination of these strategies. And by the way, you can get a document of this, a free download, 20 B2B lead generation strategies for your business. You'll be able to get a copy in the comments in the description below, and you'll be able to work through this and create your own well-rounded lead generation strategy. So what we're going to do is go through the different lead generation strategies and list the advantages and disadvantages. You take what is applicable for your business and your potential markets and apply that in your scenario. So let's get into it. First and foremost, cold emailing. So lowest hanging fruit out there. So the advantages of cold emailing are you can get quick customer feedback. You can iterate fast, and you can use software to automate a lot of those emails once you have the right process. You can use software for repetitive tasks, and it's also cost effective. Now, check out the link down below. There's a link to Apollo, what I use for my cold email outreach. I recommend it, but there's plenty of them out there. Use whatever you feel comfortable with. Now, the disadvantages are it's a highly saturated market. It's hard to break through the noise. Just check your own inbox these days. It's really hard to break through and get people to take notice. It requires a lot of research time to be effective as well, and you need software. You just can't do it with manual emails. You won't be able to get past a certain amount on a week-to-week basis. Second one, cold calling. It gives you instant feedback. You can connect quickly to your target audience, and you can quickly differentiate yourself. Now, the drawbacks are it's fear invoking. There's a real fear with doing cold calling. Not everyone is suited to it. It requires practice. You need to find the contact numbers, which can be really difficult as well. You can be met with aggression. You need to be prepared for that, and it can have a negative impact on your brand also. So you need to be conscious of that. Now, moving on to other short-term strategies, this is a short to medium-term strategy, is trade shows and conferences. With conferences, you get to speak to many people quickly. You get to iterate your message and see what works. I really had a breakthrough in my messaging one year at a conference show because I did 3 conferences in a row, and I could iterate, and all of a sudden we found what was resonating with the market. Now, you can in-person relationships, so you begin to build relationships with people in real time, which is a bit different to meeting online these days. The negatives is the cost. It can be seasonal as well, and it needs a bit of preparation to be successful. We have to figure out how to differentiate ourselves also. Now, another short to medium or short to long-term approach is social media, using TikTok, Facebook, YouTube to post videos and things like that, or build groups. Now, that's a one-to-many approach. It gives you fast feedback, and it can transition from the short to medium term. Now, if you're selling B2B, the disadvantages is maybe harder to find your buyers on Facebook, and it requires a lot of effort to get to decision makers as well. Now, I have included LinkedIn in this one. We'll talk about that in a moment. Now, a short to medium term strategy also is advertising. So you can advertise in publications if you're in B2B, and will help you get your message in front of those targeted buyers if they read those publications, or media sites, or whatever you decide to advertise on. Now, you can target a specific buying persona also, because they may read a publication, visit a certain website, or using AdSense or whatever that may be to target a certain persona. The disadvantages are cost. You're also competing with other advertisers. And if you're advertising in publications, it could be periodic before you're able to advertise in there again. Now, if you're in B2B, LinkedIn is where everyone goes as well. It's the second most common form of B2B lead generation strategy other than cold emailing. The advantages are you have direct access to decision makers. You can reach them with specific content and outreach. You can differentiate yourself with some thought on the platform as well, and you can use tools to help you with outreach. Now, the disadvantages are, again, this is a crowded marketplace with lead generation companies swimming around here. Then you need to look at your own connection requests, and you're getting a lot, well, I certainly get a lot from connection requests from people who are trying to sell me stuff. It's hard to stand out from others because of this also. Now, decision makers aren't always on LinkedIn. Maybe your target buyers don't use LinkedIn very often. That can be a real challenge. So they may not be the right vehicle for you. And also these decision makers are getting spammed. It's just harder to get in front of them. Podcasts can be a great way to get your message out there. If you're a guest on the podcast, it can help you tap into other audiences. You can demonstrate domain expertise really quickly on podcasts, and podcasts can be listened to indefinitely. So that piece of value or that piece of marketing material or that strategy can live well beyond that time that you recorded it. Now, it can take time to build momentum, particularly if you're starting your own podcast. Another short-term strategy is mentoring. Helps provide value to the market first before you ask. You meet with potential clients with real problems also. Helps provide value to those people in the first instance, and you may also find potential clients that may want to engage with you moving forward. Now, the disadvantage of this approach is it does not scale, and it requires continuous effort, one-to-one effort to an hour in and an hour out. You can't scale. Now, another short-term strategy is networking events. So you can quickly go and meet with a group of people and talk about your value proposition and meet people in person or online. There's many online networking events these days. Now, the disadvantages of this is often after hours. Again, it does not scale and can be time consuming for yourself as well. So that's the short-term strategies. Now let's have a look at the medium-term strategies, and then we'll get into the long-term strategies. So a medium-term strategy for lead generation is building an SDR team. It will help you build consistent leads in your business. You can use a proven process that you will have figured out earlier on in your journey within the business. Have much more control and oversight as opposed to using an outsourcing lead generation agency. And it helps transition part of the founder-led sales approach as well by taking key lessons and transitioning that to others in the team. Some of the disadvantages of this approach is you need time to develop a consistent and effective approach. You need revenue to sustain the team. If you take on 2 or 3 people, you're going to take that cost into the business. So you need some kind of revenue to sustain them. It's capital intensive and it takes time to implement effectively. So we want to do it in a measured approach. And medium-term strategy here is outsourcing to a lead generation agency as well. Now, the advantages of using someone like this is they have a professional process. They have strategies and the team and the processes to roll this out relatively quickly. They can produce quick results once they're tuned into a specific market, and they can help you learn up-to-date strategies if you make that part of the engagement as well. Now, some of the disadvantages of engaging with an outsourcing company is the cost. It's quite expensive. You need a substantial oversight in the beginning. If you don't detail exactly what you want them to do during the process, they'll make up their own process and they will start delivering you the wrong leads. And you also need to learn the process first because you need to know what works. And if you don't, they will tell you what works and you'll more than likely end with a wrong outcome. So another medium-term strategy, and this can be confusing particularly, is marketing. A lot of people implement marketing and expect short-term results. But if you implement marketing, you should expect that to be a medium to long-term strategy as well. Now, the advantages of marketing is it amplifies the message that you really learn on the ground during the early days of sales interaction. It gives you a greater reach to audiences that you can't do on one-to-one or an outreach as a sales team. Now, it can also potentially help with organic growth over time, which is really the Shangri-La or really the goal of any business. Now, the disadvantages of marketing, it takes a long time to bear fruit. It can be used in the wrong way if it's not aligned with the sales strategy. So we need to be aware of that. And this can sometimes be thought as a magic bullet. Marketing's not. Marketing is something that takes a long time, and when you put pressure on it in the early stages and want short-term results, you can really try to cut corners and not get the desired outcome, or change your strategy too quickly and not give the medium to long-term strategy enough time to embed. So consider that when you're thinking about marketing, which everybody does. Another medium to longer term strategy is partnerships. Utilizing partnerships helps create a one-to-many sales approach in your business. It can help you penetrate new markets with experts and people who have long-term relationships in those markets that you wouldn't necessarily get access to. Now, one of the complexities or the disadvantages of partnerships is often people try to outsource to partners first before they figure out how to sell themselves. So trying to get a partner to sell what you can't yet is near impossible and is fraught with danger, quite frankly. If the sales process is not easy and not well defined for the partners, they simply won't pay attention to it. You won't be able to unlock that key partnership lead generation strategy like you would have hoped. Now, referrals are a medium to longer term strategy. Using referrals as a lead generation strategy should be part of everybody's sales process. Because what we're doing is one of the advantages is we're transferring credibility from the existing client to the new client. It's cost effective in lead generation activities. Now, the disadvantage is it takes a little bit of time for your customers to get to a point where they're comfortable referring to you. And we shouldn't put pressure on them too early. It requires a deliberate strategy. Referrals aren't just going to happen. You need to actually create an environment and a process where your customer success team or your sales team are deliberately asking for referrals at a key point after the customer's been implemented. Now, another medium to longer term strategy is building a community. There are so many tools online to build a community, like on Facebook, on LinkedIn. You could build a community through a newsletter. There are plenty of ways that you could build a community where you can actually build your brand. You can build a loyal following. You can get real world feedback on your messaging and your product. And this will gain momentum over time. Your communities will start generating their own ecosystem and being prioritized in search results, and that community will start to grow over time. Now, one of the disadvantages of building a community is it requires a lot of effort in the beginning, at least for the first 6 to 12 months with minimal ROI. And you have potential to receive negative feedback from those in those groups, which may affect the mindset of the other community if you don't address that immediately in a transparent and honest way. Now, another medium to longer term strategy is creating a YouTube channel, maybe on you as the founder, maybe if you're a founder or a salesperson. I've seen real estate agents build really successful YouTube channels on promoting what they're working on in a business or solving problems. If you're watching this on my channel, this is one of my strategies, is to help people with lead generation strategy and lead generation challenges and things like that. Now, it's the second biggest search engine in the world. So chances are people are looking on YouTube with problems that you can help them solve. Now, it's easy to create content and you have the ability to reach large audiences independent of their location as well. Now, it takes time to build an audience organically. This is now 2023. I've been on YouTube since 2020, on and off. It's taken a long time, a lot of practice, and I'm hardly there, to be honest. Now, it could be hard to differentiate yourself as well between others on the platform as well. That's why it requires a medium to longer term strategy. Now, another medium to longer term strategy is affiliate referrals. The advantage of an affiliate referral is it only costs money once you have paying clients. It's a highly scalable growth channel as well. Now, the disadvantages are you need a good product and affiliate offer. And it won't work for companies that are just starting out because you don't have the referenceable clients, you don't have the runs on the board and things like that. Now, let's talk about the long-term strategies as well. Now, these can take anywhere from 3 to 5 years. This is not going to sit with one of your employees inside your business. Now, when I worked for a startup for 5 years, by the time I was into year 3, I was like, oh, I should have started a long-term strategy, but I can't guarantee I'm going to be here in the next 3 or 4. I'm not going to do that. One of the long-term B2B lead generation strategies is become an authority in your space. You don't have to look much further past than Gary Vaynerchuk, Elon Musk, Grant Cardone, Alex Hormozi. They're all becoming authorities in their space. But if they're just coming on your radar today, they've been working on this strategy, or they've been working on becoming an authority in their space for the last 5-10 years, and we're only seeing the result today. Now, the advantages of this kind of strategy is a great way to build reputation. It creates inbound leads, and it's a great way to create loyalty to your brand and product. The disadvantage is it takes a lot of effort, a lot of consistent effort over time. It's a great tactic to start transitioning to after you started moving out of founder-led sales when you have more time. Another long-term B2B lead generation strategy is acquisition of other companies. It's a great way to gain new leads or new customers when you can upsell them or transition them onto the product that you have existing in your business. And it's a potential for inside sales growth as well. Now, one of the disadvantages of this strategy is it's expensive. There could be a misalignment of company cultures, which could cause friction and affect the brand of the business, and possibly lack of integration between the two platforms as well, or two companies. So there we have it. It's a bit of a longer video today. That's about the 20 different B2B lead generation strategies, focusing on short, medium, and long-term strategies. And as a business, whatever works for you and your time that you have available and the markets that you want to enter, using a combination of those to get that really working inside your business, to produce the short-term results, but then transition into medium-term strategies, then moving into the longer-term strategies over time. If you really like this video, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to download a copy of the 20 different lead generation strategies for your business as well down below. And please come back if you're focusing on lead generation for your business and how you're trying to differentiate your organization and scale. Thanks a lot. See you next time.